Hi, friends. It's Mrs. Long. We're going to read from The Magic Treehouse, the book we were going to read before we left school. It's called Midnight on the Moon. Let's see where Jack and Annie are headed. Chapter 1. One summer day in Frog Creek, Pennsylvania, a mysterious treehouse appeared in the woods. 8-year-old Jack and 7-year-old sister Annie climbed into the treehouse. The treehouse was filled with books. It was magic. It could go any place that was in a book. All Jack and Annie had to do was to point to the picture and wish to go there. They visited dinosaurs, knights, an Egyptian queen, pirates, ninjas, and the Amazon rainforest. Along the way, they discovered that the treehouse belonged to Morgan Le Fay. Morgan was a magical librarian from the time of King Arthur. She traveled through time and space, gathering books for her library. One day, Jack and Annie found a note that said Morgan was under a spell. Jack and Annie set out in the magic treehouse to find 4 special things that would free her. With the help of a mouse named Peanut, Jack and Annie found the first thing in old Japan, the second in the Amazon rainforest, and the third in the Ice Age. Now Jack and Annie and Peanut are ready to find the last thing in Midnight on the Moon. By Moonlight, Chapter 1. Jack! A voice cried. Jack opened his eyes. He saw a figure in the moonlight. Wake up! Get dressed! It was his sister Annie. Jack turned on his lamp. He rubbed his eyes. Annie was standing beside his bed. She wore jeans and a sweatshirt. Let's go to the treehouse, she said. What time is it? Asked Jack. He put on his glasses. Don't look at your clock, said Annie. Jack looked at his clock. Oh, man, he said. It's midnight. It's too dark. No, it isn't. The moon makes it bright enough to see, said Annie. Wait till morning, said Jack. No, now, said Annie. We have to find the 4th M thing. I have a feeling that the full moon might help us. That's nuts, said Jack. I want to sleep. You can sleep when we come back home, said Annie. No time will have passed. Jack sighed. Oh, brother, he said. But he got out of bed. Yep, whispered Annie. Meet you at the door. She tiptoed out of Jack's room. Jack yawned. He pulled on his jeans and sneakers and sweatshirt. He put his notebook and pencil into his backpack. Then he crept down the stairs. Annie opened the back door. Quietly, they stepped outside. Wait, said Jack. We need a flashlight. No, we don't. I told you, the moon will light our way, said Annie. As she took off, Jack sighed, then followed her. Annie was right, thought Jack. The moon was so bright that he could see his own shadow. Everything seemed washed with silver. Soon they left their street. Annie led the way to Frog Creek Woods. It was much darker under the shadow of the trees. Jack looked up, searching for the treehouse. There, said Annie. The magic treehouse was shining in the moonlight. Annie grabbed the rope ladder and started climbing up. Careful, go slow, said Jack. He followed her up the ladder into the treehouse. Moonlit streamed through the window. It shone on the letter M that shimmered on the floor. It shone on the 3 M things that rested on the letter M. A moonstone from the time of the ninja, a mango from the Amazon rainforest, and a mammoth bone from the Ice Age. We need just one more M thing, said Annie, to free Morgan from the spell. Squeak! Peanut, said Annie. In the dim light, Jack saw a tiny mouse. She sat on an open book. You don't expect to see us this late, did you? Said Annie. She picked up Peanut, and Jack picked up the open book. So where are we going this time? Annie asked him. Jack held the book up to the moonlight. He said, I knew we should have brought a flashlight. I can't read a thing. He could make out diagrams and shadowy pictures, but he couldn't read a word. Look at the cover, said Annie. The letters were bigger on the cover. Jack squinted at them. It's called Hello, Moon, he said. Here's the picture from the book. You can see it's where the Jack and Annie are climbing up into the treehouse. Annie gasped. We're going to the moon? Of course not, said Jack. It's impossible to go to the moon without tons of equipment. Why? There's no air. We couldn't breathe. Not only that, we'd boil to death if it was day, and freeze to death if it was night. Yikes, said Annie. So where do you think we're going to go? Maybe a place where people train to be astronauts, said Jack. That sounds neat, said Annie. Yeah, said Jack. He'd always wanted to be an astronaut, always wanted to meet one, always wanted to be a space scientist. So say the wish, said Annie. Jack opened the book again. He pointed to the picture of a dome-shaped structure. I wish we could go there, he said. You know what happened. The wind started to blow. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster and faster. Then everything was silent. Absolutely silent. As quiet and still as silence could be. The end of chapter 1. So, let's think about our message. We're going to think. And then you're going to open up those green notebooks that Mrs. Long sent home to you. And we're going to draw a picture of what we remember hearing about today. And today we want to think about how Jack and Annie might really be feeling when they were, first of all, walking in the dark. Have you ever walked outside in the dark? I have. Sometimes it's a little scary, but when the moon's out, it does shine bright. So we're going to think about how Jack and Annie were feeling, and then how they might be feeling once they get to where they're going. So let's think. All right, I'm going to draw a picture of a tree, I think. And let's see. I just really need one paper. And I have a marker so you can see, but I don't want it to bleed through on the other pages. All right, so let's look. I'm going to draw a tree. And it's going to have the treehouse in it. And there's my ladder. And I want to make sure I draw the nice moon. Okay, so there's my picture. All right. And my message for today, I think, is going to be Jack and Annie went to the treehouse at night. Jack was worried, I think. So let's see. Did I use finger space? Yes. Did I make sure to use capital letters at the beginning of my sentence? Yes. Did I use punctuation at the end of my sentence? Yes. Did I use tall, small, and fall letters where I should? I think I did. Let's read the sentence again. Jack and Annie went to the treehouse at night. Jack was worried. Okay, can I add more detail to my picture? Of course, I can color it. I could add Jack and Annie into the picture. I could even put a little worried face on Jack. All right, I want you to do this for tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, today. Let's try it for today. But if you don't have time, you can finish it tomorrow. Make sure you put your date on your paper so I know what day you did it. Okay? And I will be reading Jack and Annie again on Wednesday. Today is Monday, March 30th, 2020. All right. I'll see you on Wednesday. Bye, friends.